Kitchen with Chef Carla Andrea, and I'll be showing you guys how to make my famous chicken tortilla soup, and to go along with it, jalapeno cheese cornbread. The first thing we're gonna do is get the chicken roasting. I like to roast the chicken because I found that when I boil it, when I saute it, sometimes it dries out. It doesn't really get that nice flavor that I like, because even though I am adding different vegetables to the soup, I still like the chicken to have a lot of flavor, be the star of the show, because it is called chicken tortilla soup. So I like to take my time when I'm doing my chicken. I only season my chicken with some cumin, coriander, salt, and pepper. I keep it real simple. I do a tablespoon of about both. When you do this soup, you want to keep your eye on the salt, because you're doing a soup. The soup's going to cook. It's going to simmer for a while. So it's going to build some salt. It's going to reduce, and it's going to become salty. So when I do things, I like to add seasonings to where I can control it. So I'll do sodium, low sodium chicken broth. I'll do low sodium, seasonings. So that way I can control, because I am putting the salt on there, and that chicken's going to get to simmering. It's going to cook in the soup. So just the last thing you don't want is a salty soup. You take all this time, hard work. You want to make something that you're proud of. So I just like to roast it, throw a little olive oil on it just to coat it. I do it till my chicken is just nicely seasoned. I throw it on there. I use white meat. I found that white meat tastes the best. I don't like to use the thigh meat or any other meat that you'll find in the other soups when you eat out. And then I realized that a lot of these soups didn't even have chicken in it. So I was thinking to myself, why and how is it a chicken tortilla soup? So now that our chicken's done, we're going to throw it in the oven. I set the oven at 380 so that way I can get it to cook quick, but still not dry it out. So it's white meat, so it takes about 7 to 8 minutes. Just keep your eye on it. While you're doing other stuff, just remember, chicken's in the oven. So chicken's in the oven. I'm going to wash this hands. Everyone loves the soup. Whoever I make this soup for, they get excited. They want to take some home. And, I just put a little love in it. I make sure that I treat it well. So we're going to put our stock pot on the stove. You can set it to about low till you get ready. So I like to just already have my pan ready and waiting for me. So I have it on low. I'm going to move this out the way. Now that we know that we're making chicken, it's in the oven, so we got that out the way. So what's next is we have 2 bell peppers, any color you want, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 onion. I have the juice of 1 lime, a can of 15-ounce black beans. I have 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, and then in here I have 2 cans of the green chilies already diced. I believe they're 5 ounces each. But there's the small ones. You can find them in the grocery store. They're about this big, just diced. And then I have a half a cup of salsa verde. I wanted to keep everything really traditional and, go through the aisles of things that are familiar and things that I know that, is really going to bring out flavor in the soup. This is a recipe that it took me a very long time to work on. Before I was adding, whole tomatoes. I was crushing them myself. I was adding too much tomato, not enough tomato. Wasn't adding enough chicken stock. It just took me a long time to figure out what is the perfect balance of the soup. And I forgot the secret ingredient. I like to add taco seasoning, because if you look in the spice aisle, spices are very expensive. But if you kind of think and say, okay, well, what spices do I need? What spices could I say that are Mexican style spices? So then you think about it, you go, wait, taco seasoning, burrito seasoning, fajita seasoning has all that in there. So I just look through the aisle. I find me any brand that's on sale, and I get it. Now, I do keep in mind the sodium content, because a lot of these prepackaged spices it does have a high sodium content. So just keep that in mind. So like I said, I just get the low sodium one, because I know throughout this whole process, I'm going to add salt myself. I'm going to flavor it myself. I'm going to start building my own flavors. So we're going to just chop this onion up how we do, just a dice. It's about a small dice. Remember, we always keep in mind safety, and we want to do things that are bite-sized. that we can fit in our mouth, look cute while we eat it, because it could be a date night meal, it could be a meal for your family, something you want to do for the week that you can take to work, because we really don't like eating heavy because we're at work and food gets us tired. Well, at least it gets me tired. I try to eat something light during the middle of the day so that way I can be involved for the rest of the day. I'm going to do the same cut on the bell peppers. Just do a small dice on them. We're going to get them in the pan. We're going to saute them for a little bit. And then we're going to start building the rest of the soup. This soup is very easy to do. It's not hard. It's not complex. I think the hardest thing we're going to do is chop our vegetables. So I'm going to finish dicing these into a small dice, and I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. We're back. So everything has been chopped up. We got onions, we got bell peppers, we have garlic. So now the first thing we're gonna do is add in our oil, because like I told you, you don't ever want to add oil into a cold pan because it just doesn't work out for you. Trust me when I tell you this. So our oil's in here. It's looking pretty hot. So I'm going to start adding in my onions. Let those cook for a little bit. Get the bell peppers in here. Let them cook for a little bit. Throw the garlic in here. Let this cook for a little bit. Everything's going to cook for a little bit. Just until it's tender, translucent. You don't want to get any brown on it. You just want them to be soft like you cooked it. I'm going to get this out the way so I can get a little closer to you guys. Wash my hands. And try not to make a mess back here. It's always a goal. Alright. So now we are going to check on our chicken breasts. Make sure I haven't burnt them or overcooked them. Chicken breasts are about halfway done. I don't know if you guys can see this. See the juices, the natural juices coming out of the chicken breast? That's a good thing. Remember, it's hot, so make sure you grab a towel. It's about halfway done. So we're going to throw it back in the oven. Let it finish cooking on down, cooking it to perfection. I'm going to get a spoon. I'm just going to move around my vegetables a little bit. Now, there's really no method. I mean, there is and there isn't to how I do this soup. When I do the soup, I'm always tasting it. Always taste your soups. If you don't taste them, you'll find that it's either under-flavored or too salty. So you always want to taste it. It's okay to, taste as you go, because that's what we do in restaurants. We're always tasting our food. So when I say that there's no method to building this soup, there isn't. The only thing that I do at the last minute is adding my black beans and my corn, because I don't want them to overcook, become soggy, start mushing up, breaking apart. So the main things that I do is I add in all the flavor components, the tomatoes, the green chilies, the salsa verde, the lime juice, the seasoning, the chicken broth. I add all those things in so that way I kind of know where I stand so I can taste it. Do I need to add this? Do I need to add that? Before I add in all the components that should be cooked last minute. So our vegetables are almost finished. Ooh, these onions. Man, these onions are live. Oh man, I lose my train of thought every time I go over there. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, you just want to make sure that you add your vegetables last, and that you don't burn or dry your chicken out, because I've had a lot of chicken tortilla soups and they're dry and they have no flavor, and then I'm just left kind of confused. Oh, another thing that you do not want to do that I've seen people do, they add sour cream inside of their chicken tortilla soup. Sour cream is a dairy product. What happens when you add dairy to a hot liquid? It curdles. So people probably, oh, but I like sour cream. Add it last. Put it on as a garnish. You can do some green onions, you can do cilantro, you can do chives, you can do whatever you want. We'll get into the garnish part in a second, but I just want you to know that, there's just a few do's and don'ts when you're making soup. Yes, you can add in a dairy, but it has to be done correctly. When we do our tomato basil soup, I'll show you how to add a dairy into a hot soup or a hot liquid correctly, so that way you don't curdle and ruin your product. So the vegetables are almost finished. I'm going to stand here, watch the vegetables finish, and I'll see you guys back in a few minutes when it's time to add everything else in the soup. The vegetables are nice and tender, they're translucent, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add in our salsa verde and our green chilies. We're just going to dump this right in, stir it around a little bit, mix it up. Then we're going to take our 1 can of 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, throw that in there, make sure we get everything. Everything is important to get. Now you don't want a lot of tomatoes because it's just part of the base, but it's not everything that's in the soup. Because if it's like too tomatoey, then in my opinion, I feel like you're making a chili versus a soup, or maybe like a tomato soup. So I always like to add in chicken stock to thin it out and to get it to the consistency that I like. When I do my chicken stock, I never use a full 32 ounces, but I just kind of eyeball it to see the consistency that I like. I'll say that I probably use 3/4 of a container when I'm making this soup. But like I said, I always stir it up. I add a little bit at a time because, you know, you just want to take your time when you're making your soup. And if you make a mistake with soup, it's kind of hard to correct it because it's a big pot of liquid. So you'll find yourself in that catch-22 and you're like in a dilemma. Will anybody know? Can anybody tell? And you don't want to put yourself through that stress. Cooking's supposed to be fun. It should be enjoyable. It should be something that's relaxing. So I'm going to add the last bit of this. So yeah, I used about 3/4 of the container of soup in here. So I'm going to add the secret weapon, the taco seasoning. Throw that in here. Get that going. Now if you do, of course, if you do double, you know that you should double everything that I tell you to put in here. So just mix this up. Smelling real good in here, like a little cantina or fiesta. So we got that all squared away. Then we're going to add in our lime juice. You always need a little acidity when you're cooking something. Then we're going to add in the remainder tablespoon of seasoning to our soup. Nothing gets wasted. And then we're going to do my favorite part that I love to do, which is tasting it. So I'm going to get me a spoon. I'm just going to taste it, sample it. I hit the nail on the hammer. I make this a lot. So it's kind of easy for me to gauge and eyeball everything because it's my fiance's favorite soup. What I didn't tell you is that I added a tablespoon of pickled jalapeños. I just put that right in there with the green chilies. I diced those up, I forgot to tell you. I like that jalapeno because it gives it a nice kick and it gives it a bite, and then it gives you some more of that acidity. So I didn't really use that much pepper, like I said. The pepper ratio was a tablespoon for everything, for the chicken and the soup, because I knew the jalapeno was in there. So now let's check on the chicken. Let's see if our wonderful chicken is done. Oh yeah, look at this chicken. Ah, that's hot. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the chicken's nice and ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the chicken in the background for a minute because the chicken needs to cool, because you never want to cut into anything, any meat whatsoever while it is hot, because what happens? The juices start running all over the place. You lose your juice, you lose your moisture, you lose everything that you worked so hard to achieve. So just let it sit out and relax. Let it do its thing. It's like it's on a little vacation before it gets in your tummy. So I allow the time for it to get in my tummy. So I'm going to put it back here. Then we are going to start working on our jalapeño cornbread. So we have this simmering. I'm going to put a lid on it, so that way it can all get warm, come together, start building the flavors, so we can taste it again, tweak it if we need to. So I'll see you guys back in a few minutes so I can get set up for this cornbread, and then I'll show you guys how to make it. Welcome back. Now it's time for us to make our jalapeno cheddar cornbread. I have all the ingredients in front of me. I have cornmeal. I'm going to use 1 1/3 cup. I have a 1/2 cup of jalapenos. I'm going to use 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I have 8 ounces of cheddar cheese, which is a cup. And you could throw like a little extra in because I like it cheesy. I have a half a stick of butter that we're going to melt. And I have a 1/4 cup of green onions. And then we have 3 wonderful eggs. So when you're making a cornbread, it's the same theory as making a cake. You want to make sure that you have your dry separate, then you have your wet. And you want to make sure that you combine everything together before you start incorporating stuff. What I didn't add in so far is my sugar. We need 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. So I'm going to add that in. We have a tablespoon of baking powder. We have 3/4 tablespoon of baking soda. We have a teaspoon of salt. We have 1 cup and 1/3 of flour. And is that it? That's everything that's in our dry mix, and plus the 2 tablespoons of sugar. The sugar, I do keep it at 2 tablespoons because we are going to do a glaze. I like to do a butter and honey glaze on top of the Jalapeno Cheddar Cornbread because it's spicy. It gives you something sweet, which is kind of cool. So now we're going to add in our cornmeal. Remember, we need 1 cup and 1/3. It's equal parts flour and cornmeal every time you make cornbread. Just remember that, because if you make a cornbread out of all cornmeal, you're gonna have a corn cake. It's gonna be crunchy, and the flour just just helps it out, make it a little tender, more kind of like a cake or a bread. But it does have gluten in it, so when you're working with it, you want to make sure that you don't work it too much, because then you'll develop the gluten, which isn't good for any baked good. I do recommend that you sift your dry ingredients. Whenever I'm baking, no matter what it is, or if I'm making pancakes, I always sift the flour, because when you sift your flour, it makes it light, it makes it airy, more fluffier. So now we're going to crack our eggs into this bowl. You want to keep your wet and dry separate, and you want to add it in. You don't ever want to build it together. Got a little egg shell in here. It happens to the best of us sometimes. Go and get it out. Got our last egg. I'm going to wash my hands. Throw those right down the sink. You know, I'm going to count one day how many times I wash my hands. I really want to. I mean, I always wash my hands. Then my fiance goes, oh man, your hands are so dry. They look bad. And I'm thinking to myself, I cook all day. Of course my hands look dry. But I guess it's no excuse. I should have moisturized hands at all times. So we said we need 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I like to use buttermilk when I'm making cornbread because it just gives it a nice little tang that you don't get from regular milk. I mean, you could use regular milk if you don't have it, but I prefer to use buttermilk when I can. Get this out of the way. See, all our ingredients are added in. Gotta add in the jalapeños, can't forget about those. We're gonna add in our green onions. Now I'm going to take my whisk, because I've already mixed all this together. Now I'm gonna start mixing up my egg, jalapeno, buttermilk chive mixture. You want to make sure that it's well incorporated by the time you're ready to mix it in here, because you don't really want to work this too much, because then, like I said, you'll create some type of gluten. So we're going to add this in here, the buttermilk. Now I'm going to, for 1 quick second, I'm going to throw this in the microwave, get it to melt, put it on, say, 35 seconds. Get it to melt, get this out the way so you guys can see. Now the only thing left is the cheese and the butter to add in. So when you're whisking, start from the outside. You don't have to be all aggressive, and you know, it's easy. It's an easy day. You just want it to be well incorporated. You know, it's not intense. You're not making whipped cream. You're making cornbread. So while that's like 50-50, I just go ahead and add in the cheese, so that way I don't find myself overworking. Sorry about that noise, that was loud. And then consider, oh, that's ready. I probably spilled it all over my microwave, because that's what I love to do. Spill butter all over the place. That's a mess. Okay, so back to this. So now that everything was like 50-50, I add this in because like I said, you don't want to over mix it, work it, still has flour in it. You just want it to be nice and gentle. So that's perfect. Okay, that's all done. Now we just add in the last, oh gosh, that was hot. Oh, I should have thought about this a little better. So now that we have that in there, we're adding our half a stick of butter. Just slowly incorporate it. Kind of work down in the center. Get everything mixed up. Put the final touches on it. It's going to be lumpy. It's going to have a few lumps. That's okay. It's cornbread. It'll go on and bake out in the oven. Now we're ready to throw it in the pan and get it baking. Now you can put it in a cast iron skillet. You can put it in mini loaf pans. I used a brownie pan to do them. I like when I do the brownie pan because they're like little cute little squares. And let me show you the pan. And you can just like literally just pop it in your mouth. This is what the batter looks like. You see the chives, you got some cheese in there, got some jalapenos. Everything looks good. I like to use a spoon when I go to put it in there because the batter is just so thick. You're going to be here forever trying to pour it in there. So I just take a little spoon in here. See if you guys can see me how I do this little juggling act. Now you have to think when you're baking it, if you leave it just at 1 tablespoon, because it was 1 tablespoon, it's not going to rise. You're not going to be able to see it. It's not going to give the wow factor that you like. So I like to do like 2 tablespoons. Make it high. So that way they stand up. They rise to the occasion. Alright, this is fun. Making cornbread. Eat it up when I eat the soup. It's nice. Dip it in there. It's nice. It's warm. It's comforting. It's, what is it? Is it fall yet? I don't know if it's fall. Because out here in Cali, whoo, what was it like? Was it like 93 today? I think it was like 93, 90. I mean, it was just obnoxious considering that it's October. Some places are already getting, what, hints of snow. It's raining. I was burning up today. I actually had to utilize the AC while I was getting ready. And it was just, oh man, it's hard sleeping because it's so hot. I'm originally from Colorado, so I really miss the nice weather, the seasonal changes, everything that you get living out here in Cali. It's forever hot. I keep a tan year round. So I'm going to finish up these cornbreads. I'm going to throw them in the oven. Like I said, they're small cornbreads. They're in a little brownie pan, so it'll probably take you about 12-15 minutes. Just keep your eye on it. Once you start smelling it, you know, that's when you want to get your toothpick, poke the center, see if it's done. Because, you know, you don't want your outside to be burnt. You want it to be a perfect golden brown. And if you're using like a pan, I'll probably say like an 8x8 baking pan. Probably take you like 20-25 minutes. But like I said, don't go off that time because every oven is different. What takes my oven a certain time may not take your oven. So just, you know, go by the smell, check it out, poke it with the toothpick. If your toothpick comes out clean, you're good to go. You don't want to over bake it because you know everything that has a heat element, heat source is going to continuously cook when it's out of that source. So it's going to cook for a little bit, and then you know, you want to get it while it's fresh out the oven so that way you can do the glaze that I'm going to show you guys when I finish mine, which I love on here. So I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. Then we're going to cut this chicken up and we're going to start finishing up this soup. We were almost close to eating our soup, so we have our broth that's simmering with our vegetables, our seasonings. Now we're going to add the chicken to it, so that way it can all simmer down together. I always like to do bite-sized pieces of it. I love to put a lot of chicken in my chicken tortilla soup, because even though soup is light, I still want you to be full. I still want you to feel like you ate something. You know, you can do like a little small side salad with it, and you'll be right in heaven. A bowl of soup, a side salad. When I have extra of my cilantro lime dressing, I do that together, and man, oh man, that is a wonderful, great lunch. So it's just little bite-sized pieces. Don't be scared to add in plenty of chicken. This is 2 chicken breasts, but I just split them in half because they were like the big thick ones, and I don't want it to dry out because, you know, if you leave them thick, then it takes longer for it to cook, which means it can run into drying out. So this is what it looks like. It's fully cooked. So we're just gonna add it in there and let it add its seasoning to the broth as well. But yeah, I like to make sure that there's plenty of chicken in here. Every bite you get, you should have chicken. Chicken shouldn't be like a reward or a treat. You're eating chicken tortilla soup, so you should know that, hey, there's chicken in here. Some good chicken. The chicken had a chance to cool down. Now it's completely cool. It had a chance to relax. You see how when I'm cutting it, it's not losing that much. Actually, it's not losing any juice because I allowed all the juice to redistribute back into the chicken. So we'll just dump this in here nicely because we don't want any of the broth to jump out and burn us. We're going to mix this all together. The chicken is now in the soup. It's simmering, so which means the soup is finished. So now it's time to add in our beans and our corn. Yay! To allow it to come together and be a part of the soup as well. Stir this in. We added in our 1 can of 15-ounce beans. Make sure that you get the brine off of it. Make sure you drain them, you rinse them until the water runs clear because that brine is salty. It's no good. It doesn't taste very, very enjoyable. I just got 1 bag of 12 ounces of corn that I'm going to cut. I like to use frozen corn because it's no fuss. You just pop it in the freezer. When it's time, throw it in there. You don't have to worry about taking it off and doing all this extra work. You can just literally throw it in there, walk away. Now this just made us 1 nice full pot. Now you're probably wondering, what makes it a chicken tortilla? Well, let me tell you. This does. I'm actually going to take about a handful of tortillas. I'll say about 5, 7. Hold on, let me check my cornbread. Cornbread's looking good, okay. I'll actually take about 5, 7 tortillas and I will actually crumble them inside of the soup. So that way it adds the thickener to it because, you know, soups are a little runny. This soup is just a little thick. So we have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7. So we're going to add this in here. Just put the other half on the counter. I'm sure it's probably a crumbly mess. It's okay because your counter should be clean. And I just literally put it in my hand until I make little, I guess, mush, dust. I don't know what you call it. But I just do this over and over until it looks like this. So I'm going to pick up the other half of my broken up, tethered tortillas that I probably shouldn't have smashed prematurely, but it's okay. I'll clean it. Oh yeah. Just get in here, mush it all together. Mushy, mushy, mushy. It's okay if there's some big pieces. It makes it authentic, makes it homemade. Then it most likely will dissolve, so nobody will know. So we're going to stir this up. Oh, it's my favorite part because I know that, okay, in about 15 minutes I'm about to eat soup. And if you want, because it's a little too thick, because you've added in all those great things, you just go and add in the rest of the stock. But like I said, do it slowly. There's only a 4th left. Don't let the 4th be your downfall and you ruin your soup. So we add just a little bit more. It's never a rush. We don't want it too thin. There we go. Still, we didn't use the whole bottle. Alright, there we go. Oh yeah. I don't know, can you see this? Can you see this soup? Oh, I'm excited. I just want to stop now. Heck, why not? Let's just use the whole thing. What am I going to do with a tablespoon left? So let's just throw it all in there. Get it out the way. We'll let it simmer for an extra 5 minutes so it reduces. But I am hungry. Oh, let me get this. Oh, we have some great things we're gonna put on top of this soup. We're gonna put some fried tortilla strips on here. We have some scallions. We have a lime wedge. We have sour cream. We have soup. I mean, there's some great things that's gonna go on the soup. So I'm gonna actually take a few seconds, clean up my stuff. I'm gonna come back with some oil, the rest of the tortilla strips. We're gonna julienne them up. Get some hot oil, we're going to fry them, we're going to season them, so that way when the cornbread's ready, when the soup is ready, the only thing left to do is to eat. So I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. Howdy, we're back. We're on the last steps. We have almost made it to our mile. We have to do our tortillas. I have everything here that we need to assemble this awesome meal. Sour cream, green onions, some lime, avocado, some salt. I have the cheese. I have the butter that we're going to brush on top with some honey. So let's get some of these tortillas cooking so we can enjoy this wonderful soup that we've made for the masses. I don't know, call some friends over. Have them come over and eat the soup with you. Take some to work, share it with your favorite person. If you're making it for kids, you can leave the jalapenos out. You can add them in the individual bowls because not all kids like spicy. But you know what I say? They need to brighten their palates. Open it up a little bit. It's nothing a little milk can't fix. So now we got them cut up in half. We're just going to add a little bit. These kind of like fluff up. I kind of made like a pluff. Yeah, I made my own word. That's awesome. So we're going to add them in here. Oh. Let's cut and do it again. Or should we leave it?
It's a lot? A lot?
We got our tortillas all cut up. I'm going to add a little bit at a time because you don't want to have your oil explode on you and then you have a oily mess. If you do get an oily mess, not saying you're going to with this, but salt works really well on the floor when you get oil everywhere. It just absorbs all the oil, so if it ever happens to you, then you know if you get a grease fire, you throw some salt, flour on the stove and it gets it all out the way, calms down the fire for you. Just a little fun, interesting fact. I don't know if it's fun, but I find it interesting and intriguing because I cook and stuff like that excites me. So these only take a few minutes to cook. I'll say maybe about 2 minutes. You just gotta watch them though, because if you're using gas, then it's gonna, be a lot quicker. So just watch them, move them around, keep your eye on it. Put your stove like on medium-low. While you're doing that, you're gonna multitask if you can. You're gonna take your other half a stick of butter. You're gonna throw it in the microwave. We're only gonna do 25. Maybe it won't explode this time. 25 seconds, because we want to add in our honey so we can put this on our wonderful Jalapeno Cheddar Cornbread, which I've tried when it came out the oven. Kind of a bad mistake because I burnt my mouth up, but it's good. It was nice, it was spicy. I had some salt. I can't wait to put that honey butter over the top. Ooh, it's gonna be good. Okay, almost finished. Okay, that's done. Let's see, almost there, not yet. Okay, let's get this out of here. Completely melt it. Okay, doing good. We're just gonna add in like a tablespoon of honey. Remember, use unsalted butter whenever you're cooking or doing something. You don't want all that salt. You want to add the salt in when you want to add it in. Let's mix this up. Okay, this is ready now. These are ready to come out. See how you're multitasking? It's okay, multitask. Because, we're ready to eat. We're excited. As long as you're focused, you know what you're doing, you can handle it. Now, if you're new to cooking, then I say take your time. It's no rush. Because it really is no rush. I just, I'm ready to eat. I'm greedy. So I'm going to throw my salt on here. Get it all nicely seasoned. Every time you fry something, you want to season it as soon as it comes out the fryer. Because this is when the seasoning sticks to it. And you know, like I always tell you, you want to flavor every single layer. Okay, our honey butter concoction is nice and ready. Let's move this out the way. See? Oh man, this is exciting. I'm always excited to eat. I feel like everything I've eaten it for the first time. Like I've never had this meal. Look at it. Look at it. Just dripping. It's all shiny. See, if you're greedy like me, you'll save like a little bit so you can just dip it all in there when no one's looking. Because I'm going to dip my piece of cornbread all the way in the butter so that way I get it all over it. Oh man. I'm going to do it one more time. Maybe no one's watching me. Just real quick, hurry up before anyone sees me. And then they complain. Oh man, that's too much butter. Oh, that's too much honey. Okay, okay. No one's coming. Let me move this out the way because we are finished with that. That's glistening. It looks good. It's perfect. We have one more batch left to cook. Oh, this is getting really good. Okay, so what can we do while we have our one more batch? Okay, we're going to stir this up. Make sure that this is flowing good. Oh yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and add in the rest because it's not even crispy yet. Okay. Now I'm going to get this out the way because I am so ready to eat. Like I'm always ready. I'm going to get me a bowl. Let me see, make sure I got everything. I got the rest of my seasoning. Get the spoon out the way because I don't need that. I got some cheese. Oh, this is looking real good. Okay, okay. So let's get a bowl. I think I'm going to do a big bowl. Let me get a nice big bowl because I'm greedy. I'm going to get me a really big bowl. Oh, man. Stir your soup up. Oh, man. Ooh. When you're making any soup, you want to make sure that you stir it periodically because, you know, it can stick to the bottom. And you don't need anything sticking to the bottom of the pan. You need everything to come up, to come out because you want to eat it. You want to enjoy it. I'm going to get a little bit of this broth. Oh, man. This is what I've been waiting for all day. I'm going to cover it back up because I want it to stay nice and cool. This is really, oh, man. I'm going to clean this up. Presentation is everything. I want to make sure that it looks nice. Okay. See, so what should I add first? How should I approach this? I'm going to add some cheese in here. I'm going to just sprinkle it around because I want y'all to know that we got some cheese in here. Believe it or not, this is a portion that I can eat on my own. I can eat all this soup by myself. Oh, man. Get some crunch in here. Give you a nice little crunch factor. Okay, we need some sour cream next. Let's get a spoon so we can eat the sour cream. Whew, this is looking good. This is getting real exciting, y'all. Got a nice dollop of sour cream. Get some scallions, some green onions, whatever you want to call them. Whatever region you're from. Okay, put a little lime in there. Then we're going to take some of these beautifully diced avocado and just sprinkle it throughout. Ooh, I done messed up tonight. I done made my favorite soup. Oh man. Alright, we got that out the way. Let's rinse my hands off. I think we got everything in the soup. Let me clear this out the way so we can enjoy it. Make some room. Move everything over here. See, I'm a multitasker. Because, see, I know that I have some more tortilla strips cooking. But you know what I say? Don't worry about it. Because we can handle it. We can handle anything that comes our way. As long as I'm eating good. So I'm just going to stir this around. Keep my eye on it. Like I always do. Grab my spoon. Where's my spoon? Did I get a spoon for myself? Oh, did I? Did I? Where's my spoon? Okay, let me get another spoon. Let's not beat around the bush. Okay, so here it is. We have the last bit of our tortilla strips cooking. Everything else is finished. We got this. We have some wonderful soup for you to feast your eyes on. I want you guys to take a second and look at it. Because this soup is dynamite. I promise you, you will love this soup. Like I said, I make this soup year-round. My fiance loves it. I love it. Anyone that eats this soup loves it. They just can't get enough of it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bite right into the soup. It's hot. So I'm going to bite right into it. Give me some chicken, get some corn, beans. It's got some sour cream. Hold me. Put this lime all in the soup. Oh man. Okay, got that. I'm shaking. This is how you know it's good because I get excited. Oh boy. Got this Jalapeno Cheddar Cornbread. I'm gonna show it out tonight. This is good. Oh boy. Thank you for watching my videos. Sorry, I'm caught up. Caught in the moment. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please click the red button and subscribe. And I thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful